Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues and friends. I know that some of you don't see this as an infringement on the revolving door prohibition, yet that would not explain why so many headlines and articles were written calling for the public's attention to this appointment. So to dismiss it completely out of hand isn't necessarily fair. Like many of you, my constituents sent me here to the State House because they emphasized over and over again how we need to clean up Rhode Island, clean up state government, and restore integrity to our institutions. Part of that means taking on the way things have been typically done before. And I recognize that many of you have been part of that fight years before I even joined this chamber. My opposition today is not out of personal animus or partisanship, but it comes from a desire for our judiciary to be impartial, apolitical, and free from influence of this body and the executive branch. My hope is that they are loyal to one thing, our state constitution. I also recognize how unpopular it is to oppose a colleague, especially one that is well-liked. And for those of you who've watched the committee hearing, you know that I praise Senator for her kindness to me as a colleague in the Senate and in Judiciary as my chair. And I was sincere in my praise. I also expressed how difficult it was for me to vote against a colleague. I wrestled with that decision for weeks. It was a very difficult decision to raise the following concerns. I had two concerns: the revolving door and whether or not a Supreme Court justice would recuse himself or herself from legislation that they've championed. The first concern, the revolving door, I conceded that even my Republican colleagues in the House were torn on the matter. But if our colleague had resigned from the Senate when she applied for the judgeship, we would almost be at the one-year mark now, and that concern would have largely evaporated. And let's just remember that Common Cause also agreed with myself and others that, and their left-leaning organization, as I said in the chamber, in the committee. And so I joke that sometimes, when you have a Republican senator and a left-leaning group, then maybe there is some merit to the argument. My second concern was that there may be cases that come before the court where the constitutionality of the laws she voted for in the Senate are challenged in our highest court. Bills where she may have been heavily opinionated on as Senator Lynch Prata will come before her as Justice Lynch Prata. She may have sponsored, co-sponsored, or championed bills that became law. One example I gave in committee was the red flag law, which this body passed with overwhelming numbers. Several other states have passed similar legislation and have seen this law being challenged on grounds that infringes on the individual's right to due process. And it is more likely than not that this also will be challenged here in Rhode Island, and it will make it to our Supreme Court. Again, this is not a personal matter. I really, truly have the utmost respect for her, and I wish her all the best. But I cannot vote in the affirmative for those reasons. Thank you.